SYUK karta dukha harta varta vinyachi nurvi purvi prem krupa jayachi sarvangi sundaruti shendurachi kanti jal ke mal mukta falanchi Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti SYUK karta dukha harta varta vinyachi nurvi purvi prem krupa jayachi sarvangi sundaruti shendurachi kanti jal ke mal mukta falanchi Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Man Kamala Purti Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Man Kamala Purti Radna Kachita Fara Tuza Gauri Kumara Chandana Chiyoti Kumkum Keshera Hire Jadita Mukuta Shobha Tobara Runjuntino Pure Chani Gagaria Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Man Kamala Purti Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Man Kamala Purti Lambodar Pitambar Fanivar Vandana Sarel Sundava Kratunda Trinayana Das Ramachavat Pai Sadana Sankashte Pavave Survar Vandana Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Man Kamana Purti Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Man When the green woods laugh with a voice of joy, and the dimpling stream runs laughing by, when the air does laugh with a merry wit, and the green hill laughs with the noise of it. When the meadows laugh with the lively green, and the grasshopper laughs in the merry scene, when Mary and Susan and Emily with their sweet round mouths sing ha ha hee. When the painted bird laughs in the shade, where our table with cherries and nuts is spread, oh come live and be merry and join with me in the sweet chorus of ha ha hee. When the green woods laugh with a voice of joy, and the dimpling stream runs laughing by, when the air does laugh with our merry wit, and the green hill laughs with the noise of it. When the meadows laugh with the lively green, and the grasshopper laughs in the merry scene, when Mary and Susan and Emily with their sweet round mouths sing ha ha hee. When the painted bird laughs in the shade, where our table with cherries and nuts is spread, oh come live and be merry and join with me in the sweet chorus of ha ha hee.
Good evening, dear brothers and sisters. Jai Shri Mataji. This evening, we are celebrating the 267th birthday of William Blake. And we've got a very full program this evening. So I'm not going to say much right now. Just to let you know what we're going to do this evening, we're going to begin with saying some mantras to get us into meditative mode. And in particular, the mantra of Sri Bhairava, as William Blake is the incarnation of Sri Bhairava. And then we'll go straight into an extract from Mother's well-known public program from 1985, in which she talks a lot about William Blake. I believe that public program was actually dedicated to William Blake, which is unusual because rarely were Mother's programs actually themed in any way, but this was a real tribute to William Blake, and it will give a beautiful and fitting introduction to this evening. After that, we'll hear some readings from Blake's Songs of Innocence, and then we'll have some silent meditation for 10 minutes or so, and then we can watch short film. It's about 20 minutes or so, made during the lockdown. It's just a pastiche of various of William Blake's written works brought into three-dimensionality one way or another, and it will speak for itself. We'll see that tonight, and then we'll just have some music, and we'll be done. And this actually, Blake's celebration is being spread over 2 evenings, actually. Tonight, the actual birthday, and then on Tuesday, we'll have a second Blake program with even more material of Blake that we can explore. So I said I wasn't going to say much, so I'll be quiet now. And let's begin with Sri Ganesha's mantra. Om Tvameva Sakshat Sri Ganesha Sakshat Sri Adi Shakti Mataji Sri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. And Sri Gauri Kundalini. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Gauri Kundalini Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devye Namo Namaha. And let's all actually, which I should have said first, we can all collectively raise our kundalinis and put ourselves in bandhan. And let's take the mantra of Sri Bhairava. In fact, we'll take Sri Mahakali Sri Bhairava, Sakshat Sri Bhairava. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Mahakali Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devye Namo Namaha. And apologies, I seem to be rather distracted tonight. I don't think we included Sri Bhairava's name. So we'll now take the mantra of Sri Bhairava. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Bhairava Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devye Namo Namaha. And so now I'm going to turn tonight's program completely over to Sri Mataji. Who will give us a wonderful introduction. Many of us have heard this talk many times before, but like all of Mother's talks, it's ever fresh.
None of us has come this evening for a book knowledge. I believe we have come because we want to know something about reality. And nobody is better qualified to give us reality than Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi.
It is such an honor for all of us to pay this homage to the great poet, printer, and a prophet that was William Blake. When I first came to England, they have been telling me that England is a place of scholarship and you can see lots of museums and exhibitions. And suddenly I told the Sahajogis that I would like to go and see Tate Gallery for William Blake's paintings. They were surprised because I seldom go to any one of them, especially the libraries and the books. And when I went there, I saw this great poet, this great personality, pouring out his heart with such concern, with such honesty, with such understanding and perception of the divine to the people of England, to understand the great powers of divinity. But to my surprise, there were some funny people. They had brought some magnifying glasses and they were looking at the drawings and were watching the private parts of people. I said, look at these wretched, absolutely baser people who cannot see the sublime, the highest, which he wanted to paint. And they were taking photographs. I was surprised the way people reacted. And then I realized how tormented he must have been in his lifetime to live with such people who have no sense of divine. He must have cried in the wilderness. He must have wept. He could not have been accepted. It's impossible. Such low-level minds cannot accept something that sublime and great. And my heart bled with pain. Oh God, why did he take his birth in a place like this? To torment himself, to torture himself, saying something which cannot be accepted. But it's not so. I knew who he was, what he is doing, why he was here. We do not know about him much because from the books you can't understand who he could have been. He was an incarnation of Bhairavnath. That's whom you call the Saint Michael or Saint George, who is, as you know, the Saint Angel of England. That's why he had to incarnate. And for him, this was his role, to talk about divine in an open, fearless manner. He had to use symbolic language. He had to use. It's not difficult to understand him at all. If you are a realized soul, you will read through it, sometimes laughing, sometimes weeping, enjoying the whole drama, what he has tried to express. When I read him, I'm amazed at his sense of humor. How he openly comes out with such remarks. I feel he is like Markandeya in India or Kabir Das in India, who slashed the whole society with their sword all the time to see that they are brought to the proper shape, without fear, but so gentle. If you read the Song of the Tale, it's so gentle. And all of them who wear him perhaps or are the same style, extremely open, straightforward, you can say even blatant, and extremely gentle. The vision of Christ that he has described is the one which he sees through his own enlightened eyes. And he sees that the vision is completely distorted, is the opposite of what Christ was. I also felt the same way. I took my birth in a Protestant Christian family. I was shocked the way the Christians were. I said, are these the Christians? Now the point he brings forth is very clear-cut, you can understand, that in the mannerism, if you are gentle, I am sorry, I am afraid, I doubt. Just look at that. It's very commonly we use this language. He says that Christ was not a gentleman of that kind. I also say, I am not seeking election. I am not here to please you. But I am here to make you please yourself, to enjoy yourself, to have your all wealth enjoyed, manifested. That is how he also put the vision of Christ before you, that he was not a gentleman who would go around and be extremely gentle to people and nice to them superficially, only the mannerism of it. But he would be so gentle with the people who are lowly. He created divinity out of fishermen who were ordinary people, uneducated. Absolutely, we can say, people who were one of the lowest in the strata of society. He picked them up and made them divine. He didn't go to the ministers and the prime ministers and the governors. He did not. When you see all the great people who are supposed to be looking after the religion part of it, they are busy only with governors, and they are only busy with the kings and the queens who must go and bow to them. They are politically activated people. How can a divine person get into this mess of politics which human beings have created? But we don't understand it because we try to rationalize everything. And thank God he's the one who talked against rationality and against all the intellectual ideas of putting down Christ to the mere level of a human being, because he was himself divine and he could understand Christ. He was so much pestered and actually persecuted that he used to get depression sometimes. And he had problems of money, problems of convincing his brother and sister, everybody trying to make him feel uneasy. Such a fine soul came on this earth to talk of Jerusalem. What did he mean by Jerusalem? What is Jerusalem? We go to Jerusalem for pilgrimage. Why? Because Christ was born there. England will become Jerusalem when Christ will be born here. But how many of English people today care for the spirit? English language itself is such a funny one that we use the word spirit for drinking, the spirit that you call alcohol, spirit for the dead souls which hang around, many more here, and spirit for the Atma, the spirit. When he came on this earth, the Industrial Revolution had not taken its respite. People were still entering into those mills, as he calls them. And he saw the scribes, how they were behaving, and he saw the whole myth of religion. He does not know that all religions were doing the same nonsense everywhere, not only Christianity. You go to any other country and see, every religion is the same style of a nonsense which is opposite of what the prophets told them, of what the incarnations told them, of what all the great sages told them. This is not only about Christianity, but still nobody can forgive it, because Christianity has a special fervor, has a special road, has a special meaning. That's what he's tried to also say, that Moses came on this earth to lay down the code of conduct, the morality, the moral thing. And also he describes Milton as a person who describes a deity who is above everything, a puritanical deity. But he describes the divine humanity. Also he describes the Christ who came on this earth for the emancipation of human beings. Not to tell them, don't do this and don't do that. That was all right at the time of Moses, in the beginning of it, the code of it. And he calls it a moral Christianity, meaning immoral must be. Because if you force someone into something and pass such laws and regulation at this time, modern times, it's going to be impossible for human beings to follow, and they'll fall into some other traps. Strict rules of anything imposed on people who are not realized soul can push them into some sort of problems. They can become criminals, they can become violent as a reaction, and we see the reaction today acting, that the hypocrisy of the whole thing is exposed. Like in India or anywhere else, they will say, you should not be attached to money. Give the money to the church, to the temple, to the mosque, to all the people to enjoy it. The kind of life people led in those days in the name of God was no model for anyone, and that's how poets like him were born again and again. I would say that in Lebanon, a great poet like Khalil Gibran was born. And then in India, we had so many such poets who just lashed the society and lashed all these ideas of the intellectuals, the ideas of the religions, the ones who were trying to curb them. Because there was no genuineness, there was no sincerity. If we are honest people, we really mean it, then let us face it and see for ourselves what we have to achieve. So that is how he came as a poet, a remarkable poet, the way he rhymes it, and the sense of humor he has, and the way he unfolds the beauty of words as any poet should do. In Sanskrit it is said, rasatmakam vakyam kavyam. Poetry is full of rasas. Rasas mean the essences, the explosion of essences through words. If it could be done, then the magic of it is called as poetry. And that's what you find in Blake.
So let's hear some of Blake's poetry now. For many people, their first contact with Blake comes through his songs of innocence and experience. I have chosen 4 songs of innocence for this evening, through which we can really enter into the heart the innocent heart of William Blake. Piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee, on a cloud I saw a child, and he laughing said to me, "Pipe a song about a lamb." So I piped with merry cheer, "Piper, pipe that song again." So I piped, he wept to hear. "Drop thy pipe, thy happy pipe, sing thy songs of happy cheer." So I sung the same again, while he wept with joy to hear. "Piper, sit thee down and write, in a book that all may read." So he vanished from my sight, and I plucked a hollow reed, and I made a rural pen, and I stained the water clear, and I wrote my happy songs, every child may joy to hear. How sweet is the shepherd's sweet lot! From the morn to the evening he strays. He shall follow his sheep all the day, and his tongue shall be filled with praise. For he hears the lamb's innocent call, and he hears the ewes' tender reply. He is watchful while they are at peace, for they know when their shepherd is nigh. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life and bid thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead, gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing, woolly, bright, gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee. Little lamb, I'll tell thee. He is called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek, and he is mild. He became a little child. I a child, and thou a lamb, we are called by his name. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. Infant joy. I have no name. I am but 2 days old. What shall I call thee? I happy am. Joy is my name. Sweet joy befall thee. Pretty joy. Sweet joy, but 2 days old. Sweet joy I call thee. Thou dost smile, I sing the while. Sweet joy befall thee. And in that simplicity of innocence, let's just meditate in silence for 5 or 10 minutes. Now we've begun with some very sweet and gentle songs, but from this innocence comes great power. And as you will see, and as most of us know, William Blake wrote very powerfully indeed. So we're going to have a look at this film, but we are going to start off very gently with one of my favorite adaptations of a William Blake song taken to music, a William Blake poem set to music. It's The Sunflower by Victor Vertuni. And we'll allow this song to get us into the film.
Ah, sunflower weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden clime, where the traveler's journey is done, where the youth pined away with desire, and the pale virgin shrouded in snow arise from their graves and aspire, where my sunflower wishes to go. Ah, dee-da-da, dee-da-dee. Sunflower weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden climb, where the traveler's journey is done, where the youth pined away with desire, and the pale virgin shrouded in snow arise from their graves and aspire, where my sunflower wishes to go. Ah, dee-da-da, dee-da-dee. Children are heard on the green, and laughing is heard on the hill. My heart is at rest within my breast, and everything else is still. Then come home, my children, the sun is gone down, and the dews of night arise.
Of the sleep of Ulro, and of the passage through eternal death, and of the waking to eternal life. This theme calls me in sleep, night after night, and in the morn wakes me at sunrise. Then I see the Saviour over me, spreading his beams of love and dictating the words of this mild song. Awake, awake, O ye sleeper of the land of shadows. Wake, expand. I am in you, and you in me, mutual in love divine, fibers of love from man to man, through Albion's pleasant land. In all the dark Atlantic vale, down from the hills of Surrey, a black water accumulates. Return, Albion, return. Thy brethren call thee, and thy fathers and thy sons, thy nurses and thy mothers, thy sisters and thy daughters, weep at thy soul's disease, and the divine vision is darkened. Where hast thou hidden thy emanation, O lovely Jerusalem, from the vision and fruition of the Holy One? I am not a god afar off. I am a brother and friend. Within your bosoms I reside, and you reside in me. Lo, we are one, forgiving all evil, not seeking recompense. Ye are my members, O ye sleepers of Beulah, land of shades.
But the perturbed man away turns down the valleys dark, saying, We are not one, we are many. Thou most simulative phantom of the overheated brain, shadow of immortality, seeking to keep my soul a victim to thy love. My mountains are mine own. I will keep them to myself. Here I will build my laws of moral virtue. Humanity shall be no more, but war and princedom and victory.
Albion's mountains run with blood. The cries of war and of tumult resound into the unbounded night. Every human perfection of mountain and river and city are small and withered and darkened.
Trembling, I sit day and night. My friends are astonished at me, yet they forgive my wanderings. I rest not from my great task.
To open the eternal worlds, to open the immortal eyes of man inwards into the worlds of thought, into eternity. The ancient tradition that the world will be consumed in flames at the end of 6,000 years is true, as I have heard from hell. For the cherub with his flaming sword is hereby commanded to leave his guard at the tree of life, and when he does so, the whole of creation will be consumed and appear infinite and holy, whereas now it appears finite and corrupt. This will come to pass by an improvement in sensual enjoyment. But first, the notion that man has a body distinct from his soul is to be expunged. This I shall do by printing in the infernal manner, by corrosives, which in hell are salutary and medicinal, melting apparent surfaces away, and displaying the infinite, which was hid. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. For man has closed himself up till he sees all things through the narrow chinks of his cavern.
A robin redbreast in a cage puts all heaven in a rage. A dove house filled with doves and pigeons shudders hell through all its regions. A dog starved at his master's gate predicts the ruin of the state. A horse misused upon the road calls to heaven for human blood. Each outcry of the hunted hare a fibre from the brain does tear. A skylark wounded in the wing, a cherubim does cease to sing. The gamecock clipped and armed for fight doth the rising sun affright. Every wolf and lion's howl raises from hell a human soul. The wild deer, wandering here and there, keeps the human soul from care. The lamb, misused, breeds public strife, and yet forgives the butcher's knife. Men are not admitted into heaven because they have curbed or governed their passions, or because they have no passion. The treasures of heaven are realities of intellect from which all the passions emanate in their eternal glory. The fool shall not enter into heaven, be he ever so holy. Holiness is not the price of entrance into heaven. As my dependence is on engraving at present, I find on all hands great objections to my doing anything but the mere drudgery of work, and intimations that if I do not confine myself to this, I shall not live. This has always pursued me. You will understand from this the source of all my uneasiness. For that I cannot live without doing my duty to lay up treasures in heaven is certain and determined, and to this I have long made up my mind. And why objection should be made to me when drunkenness, lewdness, gluttony, and even idleness itself does not hurt other men? Let Satan himself explain. The thing I have most at heart, more than life, or all that seems to make life comfortable without, is the interest of true religion and science. And whenever anything appears to affect that interest, especially when I myself neglect any duty to my station as a soldier of Christ, it gives me the greatest of torments. I am not afraid, ashamed or averse to tell you what ought to be told, that I am under the direction of messengers from heaven daily and nightly. But the nature of such things is not, as some suppose, without trouble or care. Temptations are on the right and on the left, and behind the sea of time and space roars and follows swiftly. He who keeps not right onwards is lost. And if our feet slide in clay, how can we do otherwise than fear and tremble? But if we fear to do the dictates of our angels, if we tremble at the tasks set before us, if we refuse to do spiritual acts because of natural fears or natural desires, who can describe the dismal torments of such a state? I too well remember the threats I heard. If you who are organized by divine providence for spiritual communion refuse and bury your talent in the earth, sorrow and desperation follows you through life, and after death, shame and confusion of face to eternity. Everyone in eternity will leave you, aghast at the man who was crowned with honor and glory by his brethren, and who betrayed their cause to their enemies. You will be called the base Judas, who betrayed his friend. Such words would make any stout man tremble. But I am no longer in that state. And I now go on with my task, fearless. And though my path be difficult, I have no fear of stumbling while I keep it.
The nature of my work is visionary or imaginative. It is an attempt to restore what the ancients called the Golden Age. To cast aside from poetry all that is not inspiration. To cast off the idiot questioner who is always questioning but never capable of answering, who sits with a sly grin, silent, plotting when to question like a thief in a cave, who publishes doubt and calls it knowledge, whose science is despair, whose pretense to knowledge is envy, whose whole science is to destroy the wisdom of the ages, to feed ravenous envy that rages around him like a wolf, day and night, without rest.
I do not pretend to engrave finer than Albert Dürer, but I do pretend to engrave finer than Strange, Woollett, Hall, or Bartolozzi, and all because I understand drawing, which they understood not. I know my executions are not like anybody else's. I do not intend that they should be. None but blockheads copy one another. Englishmen have been so used to the journeyman's undecided bungling that they cannot bear the firmness of a master's touch. Every line is the line of beauty. It's only fumble and bungle that cannot draw a line. This is only ugliness. This is not a line that doubts and hesitates in the midst of its course. In this way, the English public have been imposed upon for many years under the impression that painting and engraving are someone else besides drawing. Painting is drawing on canvas. Engraving is drawing on copper and nothing else. And he who pretends to be a painter or an engraver without being a master of drawing is an imposter. We may be very clever as pugilists, but as artists, we are and have long been the contempt of the continent. Gravelot once said to my master Bazir, "The English may be very clever in their own opinions, but they do not draw the draw."
Rouse up, O young men and women of the new age. Set your foreheads against the ignorant hirelings, for we have hirelings in the camps, in the courts, in the universities, who would, if they could, forever depress mental and prolong corporeal war. Painters, on you I call, sculptors, architects, suffer not the fashionable fools to depress your powers by the prices they pretend to give for contemptible works, or the expensive advertising boasts they make of such works. Believe Christ and his apostles that there is a class of men whose whole delight is in destroying.
The last judgment will be when imagination, art and science and all intellectual gifts, all the gifts of the Holy Ghost, are looked upon as of no use, and only contention remains to man. then the Last Judgment begins. And its vision is seen by every one according to the situation he holds. My drawing of the Last Judgment is one of these stupendous visions. Here they are no longer talking of what is good and evil, or of what is right or wrong, and puzzling themselves in Satan's labyrinth, but are conversing with eternal realities as they exist in the human imagination. There exist in that eternal world the permanent realities of everything which we see reflected in this vegetable glass of nature. All things are comprehended in their eternal forms in the divine body of the Saviour, the true vine of eternity, who appeared to me as coming to judgment among his saints, and throwing off the temporal, that the eternal might be established.
Last judgment is necessary because fools flourish. That is a last judgment when men of real art govern and pretenders fall.
I hear a voice you cannot hear that says I must not stay. I see a hand you cannot see that beckons me away. Naked we came here, naked of natural things, and naked we shall return. But while clothed in divine mercy, we are richly clothed in spiritual, and suffer all the rest gladly.
O Holy Virgin, clad in purest white, unlock heaven's golden gates and issue forth. Awake the dawn that sleeps in heaven. Let light rise from the chambers of the east and bring the honey dew that cometh on waking day. O radiant morning, salute the sun, roused like a huntsman to the chase, and with thy buskined feet appear upon our hills, appear upon our hills, appear upon our hills.
Meditate in silence for a few moments. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming and sharing this celebration of William Blake. We'll say Mother's three great mantras. And after that, we can hear a bit more beautiful music to finish up. Again, all adapted from William Blake. Mother's mantras. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Trigunatmika Kundalini Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Sahasrara Swamini Moksha Pradaini Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha.
Mary, Mary, sparrow on the leaves so green, a happy blossom sees as swift as arrow. Mary, Mary, sparrow on the leaves so green, a happy blossom sees as swift as arrow. Sing your cradle narrow near my bosom. Sing your cradle narrow near my bosom. Pretty, pretty robin on the leaves so green.
So I thought I'd get my phone out. I'll show you around where I am in a moment. But I get asked the question a lot, what my advice would be to this sort of question. What is the best way to make a living online? And I'm being asked this question a lot by people who are looking to get more control in their lives. They want to have more control over how much money they're making, how much time freedom they have. A lot of people have the goal these days to have more geographical freedom, work from wherever, travel as much as they want. And people